Welcome to Captive Conversations. I'm your host, Adam from Captive Wi-Fi. Join us as we dive into behind-the-scenes stories of hospitality leaders, exploring tech, operations, and marketing through the eyes of the experts. Let's get the inside scoop together.
Hello, everyone. Episode 40. Can't believe I made it this far. Quick tip: people who start podcasts usually give up after the second. I'm not that sort of person. I just gone a bit crazy. But 40, and to celebrate 40, which we will be putting on social media, of course. And on the terms of social media, we have Michael from Joli. And we're going to talk all about Michael today, and all about Joli, and all about your history. But before we start any of that stuff, and by the way, it's Joli, because we put, just make sure that
well played. Smash.
So, because we're not having a Joli. Before we start, though, we're going to start with the questions. So we have three questions, even though I wrote two. 3 questions from the last guest, which was Elliot at One Lombard
Yeah, I
Street.
listened to that. It was really good.
He's a unicorn.
It's such a small world, right, in hospitality. Just before we dive in.
Yeah.
I messaged him. I was like, nice pod. And then I realised that in the pod when I was listening to it, because I was messaging as I was listening, as you do. And he mentioned in his pod that he worked for a restaurant in Southampton.
Yeah.
Got headhunted figurati. And then he's talking about how one of the owners, really old school, like using the same ethos in nightclub.
Yeah.
That's one of my friends.
No.
I worked at the nightclub when I was in Southampton, when I was doing nightclub events, a small world. So I was like, I can't believe you know Rich. And yeah, he was bang on. Old school.
That's so cool.
I'm not surprised they were using rubbish ethos, because not a lot of stuff goes through the tills in nightclub.
Yes, and I've been there. And I have run events, so we're going to hear more about that in a minute.
World,
There is a small world. It's super incestuous. Like it's like the 3 degrees of separation in hospitality. There's always someone connected. Within 3 people, I reckon you could probably connect everyone.
Yeah, I think so.
If you look at, it's hilarious when you go to LinkedIn and you might find someone and you'll be like, hold on, they know 7 people I know. That doesn't make any sense. How's that possible? So, but anyway, question number 1 from Elliot.
Yeah.
What is the most impactful thing someone has told you?
This was tough. There's probably loads of different things I've probably picked up on over the years, but I don't know if anyone told me, but it's just something that I kind of like always remember, which was definitely advice, but I just wouldn't know who it's from. But I was just trying to think of the best way to answer this. But one thing that I kind of have stuck with, which I still try and like remember and remind myself like daily if I can, is like, I think around like when someone says no, or someone says you can't potentially do something, I've always just used that as motivation to either prove them wrong, or just come back to it when you have got the solution. And I think when we've talk about more about kind of what we're doing and where we are in our journey, but in any capacity, I think in any job I've had, I've always tried
Push
to
the boundaries.
remember that. Because I'm my own worst critic. I think most people are, but no one can really like tell you what you can and can't do. Of course, there'll be like limitations with kind of skill set and how you are, but I've always kind of thought, okay, well, I don't know that, or I'm not doing this, and someone said I can't do that. I will come back and prove you wrong at some point.
So I just listened to the podcast with Mr. Beast and Stephen Bartlett, and you and him are very similar.
Oh God!
If he says to someone says to him, you can't do it, he'll completely ignore them and actually go do it. If someone says there's a challenge to this, he'll understand it, because realistically there's a challenge and someone's thought about it. If someone says physically no, like you can't dig a hole and make someone live there for a month or something stupid like he's done, he'll do it.
And I'm sure he'd do more extreme stuff than me, to be fair.
But it's interesting though, the mentality. It's like sort of like the found mentality as well, if you think about it. So
weird.
Yeah, I like that too. I'm similar.
I think you can just use it as motivation.
100%.
In the right ways.
What keeps you, on that note, which is on number 2, what keeps you innovative and pushing innovation?
Right now, customers, which, great, we've got some. Innovation, I think, for me, I never wanted to be an entrepreneur or founder. I never really it's funny, I listened to a podcast the other day with the founder of Bolt. And he was saying in the podcast that he knew he was going to be a tech entrepreneur at like age 9. I was like, what? I mean, obviously we're very different, and that's probably why he's where he is and where I am. But I was like, swapping Pokemon cards and climbing trees.
Yeah, me too. I was outside. How old is he? Like, is he older? Or is he younger?
No, younger than both of us.
Okay, well, there you go. So, I mean,
Maybe it's true.
it steeped in technology way before we were.
Yeah,
You know,
but-
I was playing with mud.
I mean, most kids are, but
Yeah.
I found that quite interesting, but also a bit weird. But yeah, I think my innovation for kind of where we're at with Joli and why I kind of went into it was just purely out of curiosity and also wanted to solve a problem.
Yeah.
Which
Which is the biggest thing, right?
Yeah, I just like most people will have an idea or notice a gap in the market, but you've then got to take the leap. And to be fair to Jamie, my co-founder, I might not have done it without his push.
Yeah.
But it was that initial curiosity of like, this could be done way better. And even now what we're doing is all around, okay, well, we solved this problem. Now how can we solve that one or the next one? So
It's never ending.
yeah, that's it.
Okay. Question number 3. If something doesn't go your way, which is similar to what you said earlier,
God.
if something doesn't go your way, how do you combat that?
Yeah, so
Toys out the pram.
toys out of the pram and do it anyway. You can't take life too seriously, I think. Like, I think one thing you've probably had this, I think most founders would, especially early stages, like there's so many things that go wrong in the early stages, and I used to take things really personally. And I think you've got to realise that like it's just quite normal, and like one day you'll get to a point where everything is working perfectly, but and I think when things have not gone our way, I've just lost sleep and hours of stress on it. And now my mindset is like, it's fine. Like I'm kind of comfortable with the fact that we're still learning and trying to fix things. So I think if things don't go our way,
right?
I'm kind of in the mindset now where it's like, all right, well, that's fine. We'll learn from that and let's just crack on and carry on, really. So not taking things too personally.
Yeah, all too seriously.
Yeah.
Okay, on to the standard questions.
Yeah.
This is for you. Best hospitality experience.
Oh, it's tough, isn't it? I think it really depends on the situation.
Something that sticks in your mind of like, you know what, that was fucking awesome.
I am a massive fan of Thai food.
Me too.
And I think when I try and like, when I've got some time to go out in London, that's probably top of the list of where I would look. So I think one that sticks in my mind was really early on when Speedboat Bar opened, one of the JKS sites. And for me, it was just like, I'm not a massive fan of these kind of like fine dining experiences. I like the kind of casual, really buzzy atmosphere, but amazing food. And I think that hits all of the right notes for me. Because like you're in this like kind of street foodie cafe / bar. You feel like you're in Bangkok. The tables are tiny. None of it really should be like a good experience based on that. But then over comes a big like singer tower of beer and food's unreal. And I think for me it was the staff were just so smart with kind of the service they were giving. None of it was too rushed or forced. Just the understanding I felt that day from the manager of all the staff of like when to kind of come over and ask for feedback or ask if I wanted any more. It was just everything was spot on. And then you can go upstairs for a game of pool and more beers. So great place.
Anywhere with a game of pool, more beers, it's one me over anyway.
It's everything. You can have amazing food, but if the ops doesn't work in harmony with the food quality and also the marketing, like, then you don't get everything right. But in that case, it was spot on. So that sticks out.
So on that note, if you like Thai food, you probably haven't tried it. The Greyhound Cafe, which is just down the road from here. Have you been to Greyhound?
I've been to Greyhound.
They've got like 25 locations in Thailand, and they've only got one here, and then still there. And that is like, if you ask for proper Thai, they'll give it to you like, they'll give it to you like hot.
Have you been to Singburi in Leighton? Yeah, that was cool.
It's awesome.
Just old school. It's like,
I love the old school.
I don't like the Thai food that's just like trying to be a bit too. You want the kind of the local style.
You don't want like, you don't want the rest of their stuff. You want like proper. Yeah.
So many places in London now. So many Thai restaurants. Like this, just I've got a long list of other ones I want to go to as well.
I think that the interesting thing, just teeing off, is I was talking to someone else. We've got some. I do like a bit of content in the US. It's called Digital Hospitality.
Yeah.
You should join it. It's Wednesdays and Fridays, 6 p.m. our time. It's a bit annoying, but 1 p.m. their time. And we were talking, and we were just talking about the like different areas. Like you've got Chinatown, like in America, New York. It's such a vast space. But you can walk through Soho and see 30 different types of cuisines in just one street.
Yeah.
I think we're so lucky to have such a selection. of stuff. It's, I mean, obviously we have Chinatown, right? You know, and so on, and you know, whatever. But I just love that you can literally just like, if you're not sure what you want, obviously not on Saturday night because it's mental, but if you're not sure, you can literally just stroll through Soho. Even Notting Hill now, you know, more Italian to Notting Hill than anything else, but you know, you could just stroll through.
And something for everything, isn't it? It's like what cuisine hasn't been done yet.
Yeah.
And there's more and more. And I think, you haven't done this one, or there's, you know, Cambodian cuisine. I was like, okay, well, it's very similar. I like to kind of all the other cuisines out in Southeast Asia, but I was like, no one's done Cambodian. And then, of course, someone has. I just haven't heard about it. So
everyone has. Okay. Best hospitality tech. No self noms.
It's just quite hard because I'm not an operator, so I don't see.
No, but for you, like if
me,
when you've been somewhere or tried to book somewhere or tried to do something, or in like the experiential side of it, like hold on, that was pretty cool. I was able to do this one, this and this.
I still think, and I'm sure loads of people have said this a while ago, but I still think it's quite impressive. Like going back a few years to, I was in Lyon the other day, and I was like, you just take for granted that kiosks are now like so like just like really, really just an enjoyable experience going in there, and actually I prefer that now to going to the counter. And like, you know, when they first came out,
they're upselling you.
Yeah,
they've got you.
I know, I don't mind it.
Yeah,
yeah, I love that. Yeah, it's just like, you know, like, and I think that whole going back, you know, even, you know, big fan of Vita Mojo and what they've done, but like all that whole kiosks and the kind of experience there, it still blows my mind how that's just become the norm now, and how smart it is.
You know what's weird? So we had Stephen Rolfe, who was who basically at point one curve. They had kiosks before anyone.
Okay.
So Toast.
Yeah,
kiosks
right,
before
first.
Anyone.
The first one.
Just before McDonald's.
Okay.
Just before McDonald's, and I remember going in there, and the funniest thing with them is they give you a pop star name. So rather than you typing your name in, because they always get it wrong, you'd have it immediately say like Britney. No. And I must have been Britney 3 or 4 times to going in there, but
they shout it out.
Yeah, literally Britney. So I loved it, and I said to him when he was here, I was like, "You got to talk about it more." But awesome. Okay, so we're gonna go back in time. You teed on the little nightclubby thing, so we can. But let's go back all the way back. So I always ask the question, really: did you do anything in hospitality like early doors? But obviously, the stuff. Talk to me. Where did it begin?
Similar to your last guest, actually, pot washing.
Yeah,
first job in the local pub. My brother's still a chef, but at the time I was a chef in that same restaurant / pub. So that was entry level. I just loved the kind of buzzy atmosphere, being in the kitchen. And still do. And then I think from there, went to uni in Southampton. That's when I fell into selling nightclub tickets and event tickets for student nights. Worked at the club, your last guest on about, and then basically stayed in Southampton after uni, actually running nightclub events for a few years.
What, student stuff or everything?
Student stuff, like really.
Well, back then it was. I mean, I'm
big thing.
We're old now, so you know I'm older than you. But I mean, I went to Birmingham, but great. I loved events there. It was awesome.
I loved it.
Yeah,
but it's funny how that's kind of how I fell into hospitality. I think there's a lot like similarities.
So were you wasn't like the door as well as running around stuff and helping out, and you were like, don't know, you were behind the bar, so going, don't know that we're going
hovering with a guest list.
Yeah. Me too. I did the same.
There you go.
I did set that.
Handing out wristbands. Stuff. Yeah,
that is awesome.
The dream.
And then what did you jump in behind the bar as well so often or not?
Yeah, not to serve people. Normally to nick a bottle of vodka and go to the VIP.
That's not Nick, because it's part of what you're offered.
The promotion.
100%. Yeah, it comes out the budget.
Yeah, so did that. Really funny times, to be fair. There's a lot of similarities actually with, like, I guess promotions and some of the marketing where I've kind of ended up. But yeah, I used to go and basically have like a massive team of promoters. They would go around halls and go and get all the social secretaries, all the uni to come in and get them in early with like free promotions and
paying for tickets.
It's all on Facebook.
Actually paying for tickets.
It's like Facebook events.
Yeah.
Which, you know, Facebook, that's not a thing now.
Yeah.
But I guess it's now people.
See, when I was uni, there was no Facebook. I'm older than you.
So the content was an event back then, but content is now reels and TikToks.
Yeah.
Crazy, but
that's amazing.
That's what it was.
So when I was doing what you similar stuff, when Facebook came, because we were doing votes everywhere. When Facebook came, we just stopped taking photos. I know, like all my photographers we could have going out taking pictures.
Yeah.
I just they were like, oh, I can't bother doing. Everyone else is taking photos now themselves.
So my co-founder Jamie,
Yeah.
he was the photographer.
Really?
He used to go around. What was he like? Pop World and places.
Yeah.
Taking pictures and selling keyring.
Yeah,
Funny.
love that.
But we were both in the similar vibes.
So funny. Okay, so then from there.
From there, so yeah, promotions and marketing. I fell into sales after that, and then started selling stuff to hospitality brands. I loved sales, I still do, and I think
Hospitality gave you a bit of banter, didn't it?
yeah, it's such a. I mean, even now, right? It's just such a nice industry to be selling a product or service into because generally everyone's super lovely.
Yeah.
And even selling into different sectors, like I just love the hospitality sector, and I think you have to, when your passion's there, you've got them anyway. That's where
Yeah.
got to find something you want to do.
I also think that I don't know. There's a little hidden thing about hospitality is that everyone wants to help each other. It's very open, and I think that since COVID, the doors have opened dramatically. Because even in the past, operators would ask other operators, and no one say anything.
Yeah.
And now everyone just wants to help each other. So I think I love it. You know, it's just Yeah, I'm with you completely.
Still the same.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would have done if it weren't launching a business in hospitality.
Yeah.
Because you just get such a leg up from people just offering advice and giving you feedback and just being really nice.
Question.
Yeah.
I asked most people. I just realised I was listening to one night about a couple of months ago. Being in hospitality previously, do you think that's changed how you talk to people and how you gauge people and communicate with people? Because some people who haven't worked in hospitality are either in a normal job or just sometimes don't understand. Like when you're on the door, you're behind the door, you're running around, you had really tricky situations to deal with. You know, people falling over and hurting themselves and so on, and everything else, and management and so on. Do you think having that in your sort of like growth of a person, do you think it changed the way you see people, the way you talk to people, the way you communicate?
I think so. I think so. I think there's every different size of organisations. Hospitality, different. Buyers obviously different.
Yeah.
But yeah, totally. I think naturally, you know, most hospitality marketers who we want to speak to now anyway have at some point been in hospitality as well. So there is probably like a, you know, like some common like ground.
Yeah.
You find. And it's just the way you communicate thing, and I think the understanding of like, especially in where we're at in our journey, it's like I've had people, our early adopters, really help us. But the same early adopters are still helping us out with new stuff.
Love that.
And then we just bring more people along the journey with us.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I just don't think you'd normally get another industry.
No.
Really.
I don't think. You'd have to probably have a lot more.
Yeah.
And you'd probably get less input from if you look at like the investment track.
Yeah.
You'd have to probably sell it to a lot of more people. Have that cohort to be much greater.
Yeah.
Because you're in a different industry.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I agree with you. So okay, so you started selling hospitality tech. Is that so? Where were you at that point?
This was pre-Trail.
Okay.
I did a couple of sales jobs before that. Trail was my first entry into hospitality tech properly, I would say.
And wait, were you still back in Southampton or at this
back
point?
in London?
Back in London, yeah.
Which is when actually this micro-influencer side hustle started to emerge, which we might talk about in a minute. But yeah, like at that time I was, you know, working entry into hospitality tech whilst doing that on the side.
Yeah.
And then
what was it like? I'm just curious. What was it like? Because you weren't. I know that you worked in hospitality before, but going. I thought people call it the dark side, really, because what you do now isn't really that sort of hospitality tech. It's like another. It's very different.
Yeah.
So you're. I don't know. I'm not saying it the bad way. The
No,
dark side,
I know
but
what
like
you mean.
hospitality tech is like selling tech to hospitality is not easy.
Not easy.
You know, especially when you look at like POS and integrations and operations and
nightmare.
you know, when I first got introduced to Trail, I think it was at a Black Sheep Coffee, and I walked around the counter and they were like, "Stop!" And I was like, "What do you mean? You have to fill this form out." And I had to like fill out the form saying I'm not ill, and the reason for my visit, and then press it, and then now you can come. And they were like, that was my first ever. I was like, what the hell are they doing? This doesn't make any sense. But after I left, going, that's pretty good because you know who anyone is.
No.
But yeah, what was it like selling to hospitality businesses?
Well, going back different solutions, I guess. Selling into operations and compliance, people were very different to marketers, I would say.
Massive.
But they were very, very similar in kind of what we do now. And I think the understanding going into hospitality tech with Trail is that what they did amazingly well, and we learned loads from me and Jamie when we were there, is that kind of like solve one simple problem, do it really well, and be really mindful that like you are in an environment where people are so busy, like on the shop floor, like you need to give them tech that they can just log in really easily, use straight away, and do it in like a couple of seconds or a couple of minutes. They haven't got time to like, you know, sit down at a desk and like spend all day on it. And I loved that simplicity of it. And I think there's a lot of similarities with that and what we're trying to do now for marketing. And that like we noticed that, you know, like why are people sat on Instagram messaging influencers all day long? Like, do they want to do that? And how long is that taking? Yeah. Simple idea. Here we are. So that kind of operational efficiency now into can we make marketers more efficient?
So Vic Sell said ages ago, marketers are so busy printing out of order sign, toilet out of order sign to do anything. But because ops are telling them toilet doesn't work, and then like messaging. So they print out their out of order sign, stick it up, and then all the 19 million things they're meant to do just goes out the window. And I understand that because I've spoken to loads of clients, and they're like, or they're either their owner operator marketer, they're all in one, so they're like completely overblown, or they're the marketer that's just got so much to do.
It's more than ever now, isn't it? Because it's just like I think generally like sentiment. I don't know how many marketers you talk to, but they are being asked to do more than ever, and probably get
that job scope is
on lower budgets.
No, you're right. Okay, so then okay, so into trial, selling tech to operators. When did it come to the point of was it when they got bought, or where did you get to? Or where did you get to intro? You started with just normal sales, or
sales.
And then where did you get to?
Well, I kind of just went in with kind of like as a business development manager, then to head of sales, but very small team, irrespective of that. And then Jamie, co-founder Jamie, he was, I would say he's one of these like jack of all trades, perfect for startups, where like he's kind of worked in every single area of a startup. So he's great. And when I was with Trail, Jamie was doing growth, so he was heading up growth. So we worked on some stuff together, and then
did you just click basically?
We clicked, but we basically were on furlough. Was when the weird story is we were on a trail trip in like the middle of like Lincolnshire somewhere, North Norfolk. It's like the Norfolk Broads, which is lovely, you know, like in the summertime, but this was like February or something. It was like the weather was awful.
I was recording, but I was recording here, so I'll get that. That wasn't recording. This is recording. I just thought it wasn't recording on here, but don't worry. We got two here, so I'll take that video and we can continue. Sorry. Okay.
Carry on.
Norfolk Broads.
That's
one up, back up.
That's why Norfolk Broads with Trail. The weather was awful. Funny trip anyway. And me and Jamie were kind of like talking in the pub there, like about the idea, because I was like saying like,
sorry, but how many people were at Trail at that point?
30, 20, 30,
okay, fine. So a big team outing.
And I was just saying to Jamie, like, because he was just asking questions about this kind of food blogging and how it works, because I think he was really intrigued, and I was telling him how it works, but then I was saying like how with the frustrations where I think tech could play a part in that, you know, like influencers are getting bombarded on DMs and emails. Worse now, back then, maybe moderate pain.
Yeah, now you can find any email anywhere.
Right? But it was like just, and then you've got like, most of them have got full-time jobs if they're at a micro level, so then all their spare time is taken up like trying to plan their weeks and then go and visit, do that regularly enough to make sure they're still growing their audience, getting enough content anyway, which, you know, is a challenge, getting enough content all the time. But then they've got to do all the editing, and this is all in their spare time. And I was like, the last thing you want within that is like to go back and forth on emails with kind of agencies and marketing teams, and they've got to speak to ops, and then that's going on for like a week. There'd be times where I'd kind of said, yeah, well, up for coming in and trying that new menu, and then I would not know if I'm going or not. I'd get an email on Friday at like 3 o'clock going, oh, you're all booked in for tonight, by the way. And I'm like, well, it's like, and that whole process, I was like explaining how challenging that was to Jamie, and then he kind of was like interested at that point. But we hadn't done anything at that point. But then shortly after was furlough, and I remember all my mates playing PlayStation, but meanwhile, me and Jamie were building out kind of how it would all work with Joli. So we used that time to our advantage, really. So post-COVID, we were still at Trail. they then were going through the acquisition with Access, so it actually ended up being like really like perfect timing, because in the background we were talking to marketing managers and working out how it would all work. Jamie left shortly after the acquisition. I stayed on for a little bit longer, and then here we are, I think 2.5 years in.
So I'm going to go back a little bit more, because there's a little piece you missed of what you did when you became your micro influencer.
Oh, right.
So where did that start? I mean, listen, I'm a Google local guide, right? I got loads of photos. It's great, but I don't do anything else. I do loads of content. Don't get me wrong. It's great.
Yeah.
Hi everyone. So I mean, I try and do as much as I can. But where did that start? Where did it begin? Like, was it just like that you saw? How did it grow? Like, talk to me.
It was back in the day. This is going really far back now, because I don't really do it much anymore. But back on Instagram, in the days where video had just come in, I think it's that time, because I remember taking pictures and then putting some filters on it, and that's all you need to do at that point. The photos are awful.
Yeah.
But then I remember video coming in, and you might remember Joe Wicks doing these Lean in 15 videos, and that's how he exploded. And I was just latching onto that wave. So all of my early content was like these awful recipes, copying his like quick, healthy recipes that I'd cringe looking back at them. But like, I was just honestly riding this wave of like that being like a popular thing, and I would just comment on like his post and engage with them. This is really good, or like, I've done something similar, and I'd get like so many followers from it, and I was like, what? I just kept going with that for a while. So
you basically, so I spoke to another Kitsch. And they're coming in actually, which is going to be exciting.
Cool.
And they have community managers for their clients, right? You basically were your own little community manager, because you were looking at everything, going, right, I'm going to reply to this, going to reply to that, and then building little communities, and then people found you, right?
And it started because I was interested in it, and I like cooking. That's what it was. But then when there's more people going, oh, this is good, like I'm going to try this, I'm like, I think most influencers right at that point were like small influencers. I wouldn't say I was a big influencer. I think every time someone says, oh, I'm going to try a recipe, or like, I'm going here with my, mum based on your recommendation. I do think you get a little like ego boost. And I think that's why most people fall into it. I did that, but then when my job in sales in London, I was barely at home, like cooking, and I was out all the time eating and drinking. So then I just pivoted into, well, why don't I just do kind of like restaurant reviews, because that was an emerging thing.
Massive.
And then kept growing. I was worried that kind of some of the audience I'd gained would lose interest in that, but it was similar. Carried on growing, and then
where did you get to?
I got up to, I don't use the account anymore. I would say it's dormant. Over 20,000 followers on Instagram. Don't do it anymore, because Joli's my new project. I would love to get back into it. What I will say on that is, like, it was really easy to create content back then. Like, so much goes into it now, as you know, with creating podcasts. But even like our creators talking about how they're editing these reels or TikTok videos, like some of them are like doing an hour just on a voiceover. I'm like, what? Back when I was doing it was like, go and eat somewhere, take a couple of pictures, filters, done.
To be fair, that's what I do. Right. So this literally will go. This literally will go into CapCut. And the audio will go into it as well. They'll sync the audio and video. And this one will be interesting, because I'm going to have to fix that audio, which is fine. That's why I have backups. And I've not made a mistake for quite a while, to be fair. So touch wood, I've done all right. And then I'll unless it's like you go to me, Adam, I need to cut out that and that, which is rare. Very rare. I'll just post it and then I'm done. So thankfully it's good. The downside is that I have a PC, not a Mac.
Okay.
Which is changing shortly. So my export is like, I better leave my computer for an hour and 45 minutes to export. But I'm pretty basic.
It's going to be interesting to see how that develops, because I do think what we're noticing, especially with like AI, like this AI influencers now, that's another thing. But I do think at some point we're waiting to see what comes in. AI will be so sophisticated that you can go into a restaurant, create the content you need. I don't think they're there yet with AI influencers, because you can't actually put like a genuine person yet in a restaurant to show off all the experience.
Probably
robots, maybe.
You could probably use ChatGPT's with Sonar. I forget the name of it now. You can probably use
Do the green screen.
Well, to be fair, you can probably get it to do. Yeah, you don't need a green screen. You can probably get an AI influencer to sit at a table, and then you just insert them into.
It's going to be interesting.
Which is,
but I think on the editing and creation.
yeah. Well, look at Adobe, right? So nowadays, now in Adobe, you can just draw a circle and say tiger licking water.
Yeah.
And it will do is potentially with Adobe Premiere. You could, I don't know, I'm not that far. I'm nowhere near that.
I think that's really exciting because I think then anyone can be a creator.
Yeah.
And then I think.
Well, do you think the version of Canva for video needs to come? I think that this CapCut is there. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
But I think the power of online, if you can see what they're saying, that every time if you ask ChatGPT, can you fart, for example, that's something stupid. Like literally, the amount of electricity in America that's been used just for asking it to do one thing.
Oh my God.
And they spray like water dust to keep things cool out there. So the sheer amount of energy just for that. But I mean, I'd love to see a version of Canva, but for video editing.
Same. Yeah.
Because it's still, you've got to upload the content and so on. I saw...
Just load it all in and just... there are some really clever, like... There was one on Dragon's Den the other day, actually. Like, for kind of like a video, kind of AI video editing tool. But yeah, if you could just load in all your content, raw files, and go, I want roughly it to look like, that.
Yeah, yeah.
I think there will be.
Yeah.
Just waiting for it to
yeah. I think the funniest thing, there's an app, I forget what it's called. You can record a video of yourself and it will just duplicate you. So you can do so lots of the AI, the ones I'm listening to, I'm AI all over the freaking shop for my reels, the feeds they're coming in. There's an app, I forget the name of it off the top of my head, but just do a video of yourself talking and it will capture your voice.
Okay.
And now all these guys who are doing AI are just sitting there and not like literally with their little fake avatar, just talking, just typing it in. So now they're automating it all.
God.
Which is really interesting. They're using make.com to automate everything.
Wow.
So, but anyway, okay, so, sorry, we're really digressing off the side. Okay, so, you start to go out to restaurants, you started to take pictures, you started to get noticed, up 20k, which is great. And then, did people reach out to you, or did you reach out to them? How did that happen? Because back then, 20k is quite a lot. I mean, now it's like 3.2 mil.
I don't know if this was just me, because I do see a lot of really brave content creators and influencers these days, but I would find it really cringy, like, messaging brands directly. There's maybe been a couple of times where I have done, but I was a bit sceptical and hesitant with it. I think everyone's a bit more, like, ballsy with it now. Like, we speak to all of our customers and I'll get, like, 40 of these a week or whatever, so... It's changed. I was getting more and more invites. It started off being maybe direct, then through PR agencies, and that would get more and more and more as your kind of following would grow.
And back then, did they give you guidelines of what they wanted? Was they like you got to do, or was it just come do this and then whatever?
I think this is what we noticed because I would say the vast majority of hospitality operators were doing a gifted exchange. And this may be because of the level I was at. I was very small influence. I wasn't like big, so I wasn't necessarily doing paid collaborations all the time. But there was a lot of hospitality brands inviting me in for lunch, and if I post about it and share it to my audience, happy days for both. Yeah, I loved that. But on that initially, I was like, everyone's kind of doing the same kind of T's and C's here. Yeah. The only difference is you might want to tell the story a little bit differently depending on what the brand is or the promotion. But that fundamentally was all the same. And I was like, well, if it is that universal or like similar,
it's going to be a bit boring, isn't it?
Then yeah, but you could have tech here.
Yeah.
You don't need to be drafting like press releases. Because again, content creators and influencers aren't journalists. They don't need to see like 2 pages.
Sometimes they need a little bit of guidance.
This is, it's like a little bit of guidance. Yeah. But fundamentally, what are you going to give him?
Yeah.
What do I have to do?
Yeah. And again, as you said, marketers haven't got time.
No.
As well, that's the other challenge.
Yeah.
So, and if no one knows where to go, I remember you can go online and find the top 10 X, Y, and Z, right? The challenge of even getting to them is super hard.
Yeah.
So you spent like 3 days trying to find out who X, Y, and Z is, or even DMing them, and their probably DMs are like mental.
Yeah.
So
crazy.
You said during furlough, were you just chatting about it?
Just chatting about it. And then Jamie kind of went away and built like an early kind of version of it. It's hilarious.
So he's a developer as well?
He's not. He's a self-taught.
Love that.
Developer, coder / everything. Yeah. It's hilarious.
They're right. That's a co-founder.
Doing a great job. The product looks amazing. Yeah. We are wondering like how long we're going to get away with it. But Jamie, in all fairness, keeps building some cool stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice when you can tinker. I can tinker.
Yeah.
I can't fully build, but I can tinker. When someone says to me, "Can you change?" I can change that. That's fine. And I test it and then I push it. Which is
I think
fine.
in fairness, I need to give a shout out to Dan Scott, who was our first developer. He did come on board and build like all the solid foundations.
Yeah.
Jamie now is using that framework to kind of
Nice.
make touches. So, but he does do a really good job, and so he's probably grown into a technical kind of founder
Yeah.
without realizing.
Yeah, your CTO is your CTO.
Yes.
Yeah, nice. It's really weird. I said that really high pitched voice, but I was talking to Prithi from Sentiment Search the other day, and he was like, "I want to do this, and he's got a CTO as well, even though Prithi's a developer.
Yeah.
And his CTO goes, "No, because you can do this and that, and that's it." Is that interesting? Because I can imagine you going, "Oh my god, we can do all of this."
Yeah.
And then
Magpie, I'm like, oh, this has got glitter.
Yeah.
I've learned to tone it down.
Yeah.
I would still throw the ideas out, and I think where I'm definitely more mindful is like I know how much kind of time and effort goes into it, and when to do it. We might have a long list of things we want to do, but like when to, like at what point do you do that one, and what comes first? I think it all has to be the kind of like timeline needs to be right. So, but Jamie's good at kind of like, I guess, holding me in check with that. But also I think it goes back to trail days. Like, I don't want to keep building and to the point where our product becomes so wildly like off-piece to what we trying to solve.
Yeah, keep messaging on message, right?
So there's like, even with like influencer marketing, it's different tiers, and it's so complicated, and there's loads of different things you can do within that. Because there's a natural thing for us where you go into different areas now, and customers ask for different things, but like I still think there's loads for us to do to perfect within that small little kind of area.
Yeah, I agree, 100%. Okay, so you built an MVP?
We built an MVP. We went out. Do you know what? This is funny.
Go on.
Shout out to Vixel. I told her this just after Christmas. Actually, I think I made her cry, but there you go. Because she was
In a good way.
In a good way. She was asking for like feedback about the team marketing chat, the famous team marketing chat, and I was like, I need to remind you that our business started from that chat, because going back to before we'd launched and we had this MVP in the background, we'd asked a few people about it, but we got Dan Hawkey at TipChat now to post in that team marketing chat and say like, this is kind of like what a couple of my mates are up to, like, what do you think? We did that, and then there was like a wait list to sign up, and I think we had like 700 sites across like I don't know how many brands register interest, and
that's
like
amazing.
he was sending us screenshots of like people, some of our customers now, like Cosette from Sticks and Sushi. It's so funny looking at that chat because all of them are customers now. And I'm like,
because that's awesome, and Sticks and Sushi.
That's amazing. But like, I'm like, I don't think I'd have launched that business without that chat. And then I told her,
amazing.
She was like, oh, you're making me emotional.
That's amazing. But loads of things have happened through that, just through that whole group. I think it's that piece that where everyone was to support each other.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting.
They had an MVP, and that really gave us a kick up the bum to like do it.
Yeah, especially when you saw the sign up.
Oh my god! I was like, well, we need to do this, and then we.
Because so you could do it. I was listening to on the podcast the other day, and they were saying, you can build anything you want, anything you like. Put a landing page, put a sign up, and if it tees off and build some marketing around it, and if it tees off and you got 700 people, then go.
Yeah.
Because you'll have a base.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting. I didn't have a choice. I had to build it because we had to fix a problem. So, but yeah, it's interesting.
Awful, probably what we built, and I was definitely in this mindset, which I've learned to change. But like, well, we can't do it now. Like, it's rubbish. No one's gonna like it.
Yeah.
JB's the opposite.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Get it out.
Yeah. And thankfully he's like that. But yeah, God, back then it was just like a little dashboard, and we kind of had a rough idea of like influencer bookings would be shown there. But it's totally different now. But it's funny.
You iterate, right? Everything changes.
Yeah.
So okay, so then MVP happened. You got that sign up. Well done, team marketing. I think every country needs a team marketing.
Vic's gonna ask for equity or something now.
She can have definitely 2%. And then so MVP was created. Then you had the wait list, and then what did you just put a couple of clients in, or did you select a few?
Yeah, we started. This is one learning I think with just still a challenge for the business, because it's that like, I'm not going to compare ourselves to Uber, Airbnb, and those giants like that, but this kind of like cold start problem with marketplaces. And I think we we had like 10 brands.
Yeah.
We went and invited loads of content creators onto the app. Don't think they could get in. I think there was loads of sign-up issues, so that was the first thing. But then it's like, you've got to make sure, and we're still juggling this, it's like you've got to have enough brands to create a ratio, like the supply and demand, and juggling that, because if you have not enough brands, loads of creators, they come in, they will fill up the bookings really quickly, and they're, well, this is crap, off I go. Temporary churned content creator. Flip side is loads of brands, not enough content creators, not getting enough bookings, so that's still a challenge. And we find that a year ago we were just in London, we're now in 18 cities, which is cool.
Oh, that's amazing.
But even in some of those cities, like the smaller ones, it's still hard.
Yeah.
That cold stuff.
I felt in my mind went to be a bit like a VIP restaurant where you can't book certain dates. Do you do that where you, well, actually, you know what? Instead of there's that many creators and that many restaurants, let's block out those dates, thinking that it is busy, so you can only book a certain amount of dates.
We have like secret things,
and that,
the way we control kind of what goes on around
that little pinwheel you can turn.
Certain creators, if we think they're better quality, you jump without top secret.
Yeah. That's nice. That's good. You know, that's really interesting. Okay. So how did you find the creator? So what did you do? My mind's blowing at the moment. I'm like, right, how the hell do you find those creators? I mean, you could just DM them, or do you just? How was it?
A couple of things happened naturally, which we stumbled upon, didn't deliberately do it, which is now our secret sauce, to be honest. And there's like, at the time when we had our first few bookings, we were just saying to content creators that were on do you mind tagging us on Instagram as well?
Yeah.
And like they were like, yeah, of course. Like I was like, what? I think they wanted to help us grow because they liked the idea. But then now, like in majority of all of our content, which we're doing, I think we've just hit. What have we done? There's about 50,000 pieces of content created now, like 1,000 bookings a month. But most of those kind of content on TikTok,
you say 50,000 bookings a month.
50,000 pieces of content.
A piece of content.
And we're now doing around about 1,000 bookings a month.
That's awesome.
With creators and all of our customers.
That's awesome.
But most of this content on TikTok and Instagram, we're still being tagged and mentioned. So you then get an influencer going to Hawksmoor.
What the hell's going there on there?
And then other influencers following that go, oh, you just in at Hawksmoor.
That's so rare. Sorry.
It's an unintentional.
I've never heard of anyone do that. It must just been like, but that's
I'm surprised we got away with it.
That's so clever.
Yeah, it's a flywheel we didn't deliberately do.
Well, it shows testament that they, one, like the people, two, like the platform.
Yeah.
So don't be like, it shouldn't be happening.
No.
People do it. They'll do it. Influencers are tricky. Creative people are a bit tricky. You know? But I think if you get in and you have a good relationship and you provide what you're doing, I think props to you. That's awesome. We can swear.
So a lot of it is still organic.
That's amazing.
We will see spikes based on like viral content or like, like we've got like customers like Hawksmoor Sticks of Sushi that I would say like, sell itself, like everyone's all over it. So when you get those brands that have got a campaign going live and you see the first wave of creators coming in, it's suddenly more on a booking, and that's when we see even like some that we think are like temporarily churned come back because of a certain offer. But really interesting. So no real. We still in the early stages went out and found them and DM'd them to kind of bring them on board, but a lot of it's organic. We're rejecting.
Did you know some as well? Was it just
the network? So we started really niche and hyper local in that sense, and there was London foodies within a certain range. We're now working with creators, I think 9 different categories. Still need to be really careful on vetting to make sure that they're right for hospitality. I think we reject about 80 applications a week to sign up to Joli. We're now working on some.
I got rejected last week. I'm kidding.
We don't want to reject them all. We are like vetting really carefully, not just on like following, but also.
How do you check fake likes and stuff like that?
Yeah, well,
you can go on you can go online now and just buy 50,000 freaking things for like $100 or something stupid, and so some little bot in Vietnam will all of a sudden follow the like yous. How does that work?
So we get content creators connect their socials to our app, which then means with all their metrics and data. So interestingly, when even though we vet them to come onto the platform, influencers reaching out to brands means no outreach, but also at that point the brands on our app can see all of their data and analytics. So
awesome.
So if you were like a restaurant in Nottingham and you wanted a local following around Nottingham, you'll be able to see age, demographic, their audience, demographic of like reach over 38 days, engagement rate, also like where their audience is based. So like if you wanted local marketing, but all the audience were based in Dubai, you'd be like, okay, they're not right for me.
Yeah.
So we
That's super interesting. Oh, nice. That's. I mean, my brain's going. If I was like, I wouldn't want to give it, but realistically. But then because you're a service,
just trying to be really transparent and give brands more control.
100%.
We've struggled with that at the start because I think influencers are like, oh, I don't want you to see everything.
Yeah.
The ones that don't want you to see anything is because they know there's something dodgy.
Yeah.
About their account, so they might not want to use on.
Yeah, all their followers in Vietnam. It's great. But that's really interesting. So then now, so talk me through the process. I'm a brand.
Yeah.
I come into the platform. I sign up. I go in and you can just look. You can search. How does it work at the moment?
We're not.
Because all very different.
Yeah, we're not really a discovery tool. I think we there's lots of influencers.
So is it more Are you more hands-on then?
We're vetting creators, bringing them on. I think we're very much focused in like hospitality specific. So even if we're bringing on fashion influencers, we need to see a minimum of like 25% food and drink content because we want them to create a reel or a TikTok that shows off the hospitality experience.
Well, I guess you'll see it from their network. Okay. So if I'm a restaurant brand and I sign up on that side, is it a marketplace on that side, or are you very more hands-on?
SaaS tool, I think, for brands, and we didn't really start off like that, but I think it has evolved over time. But no, you'd be able to set up your sites and a campaign within like 10 minutes tops and go live straight away.
Yeah.
At that point, when your campaign goes live, it gets matched to creators on our app. It might be like Mother's Day campaign, bottomless brunch, match based on age, dietary, location, category, and then you can go, okay, T's and C's look great, I want to go in. You apply with like dates and times you can do. Brand approves. Yeah. We can now integrate to booking systems, so even better. Yeah. Is that when you approve it, straight into Collins, and then teams can see Joli VIP. Nice. See the complimentary offer.
Nice.
Done.
Nice. And then you can add those notes in there. Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so and then how does it work with is it for the creator, monetary value or offer, or how's it? Because not everyone's super high, right? They want to be. So how does it? I don't know. I'm blind. So.
Yeah, there's different tiers of influencers. I think
have you got a sliding scale of how high you want to go?
Oh God, we don't work with celebrities. They tend to be with
Joli VIP's coming out next month.
Well, it's a funny one because there's definitely been a shift since we started this with like the different, like, I guess the ROI is really key, but if you want to work with a big celebrity, it might cost you thousands and thousands of pounds. So you've got to make sure that you're like, that's a big risk to take and a big punt, so you need to see something back from it. Whereas giving someone a free burger, I'm not that bothered if I don't get it.
So is yours from the lowest tier to a free this to then monetary back?
Nano and micro influencers is our sweet spot. So they are kind of like the earlier kind of like
nice up and coming
ones. Yeah.
Nice. So I think most of them they're like, in return of this, come for a free meal, get this, or rather than I'll pay you $1,000.
Most of them, but you do find that they'll graduate from gifted to paid. They can quit their job, do it as a full-time job. Happy Days, Eating with Todd. Yeah. Perfect example. I think at one point I was in this kind of similar scene to him, similar following, and my God, like video takes over and he's just in a different league, right? Yeah. So he's now got his own festival. Definitely
festival.
You're in a festival, barbecue meat festival. Yeah. It's amazing. So he's got his own loads of different things going on, and he's earning a very good amount from working with brands. So we see ourselves as this kind of like app that picks people up early, trains them on how to behave and what to do, and help them on their kind of journey.
They sign your contract, you invest into them, right? They give you forevermore. They give you 50% of their or 15% of their revenue.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, you're welcome.
But they'll eventually graduate and then leave us and go on to pick up agents and go into different worlds. So we're not working with the bigger ones. I think that suits hospitality because they don't have massive budgets. Yeah. And spending money on a free burger or a free
nothing. It's a no-brainer. So is there on the edge of
just gifted, but monetary? I'm glad you brought it up, and Sherry Bills was alluding to it in the podcast, and now we're gonna have to say it exclusive. Yeah. We are launching a new feature on the app in 2 weeks' time, which will enable. It's basically an entry level, I would say, for brands to start working with creators and creators to monetize what they do. Yeah. With a UGC element to it. So it's like, in the same way they would need a videographer to come in and get loads of content, what we're now seeing, and this is driven by our customers, like we have to change our ad sets on Meta like every 6 weeks. And what I'd like to do is get 4 different people in similar content to then, you know, split test who works best.
Yeah.
That's hard to arrange and to do.
Yeah, very hard.
Whereas the functionality of our current experience lends itself really well to being able to kind of get a random person, creator, or an influencer in quickly.
Yeah.
But then what we'll be able to do is they get way more control over that, and they can specify scripts, briefs, edit requests.
Yeah.
Way more control over what's actually going to happen at the end. And instead of the creator showing it to their audience, they're giving the brand permission to use it for ads, and there's a fee involved in that. So they're becoming, it's like pro UGC.
Yeah.
Way more control over it, and we're going to move.
And the cost alone to get someone to just record and edit that anyway is going to cost you like
Exactly.
loads.
And we think some of them early.
Are you gonna? Sorry,
Yeah,
one more thing. Is it going to be a higher? I think I spoke to this about ages ago. I think I must have asked you, ages ago. Are you going to have an option to just hire someone? They've got the kit already, right? If they're coming to like the middle end of that journey with you, they've got the kit. They know how the editing works. It's super easy to do. They do it in 5 seconds. Is there an option where you can go, actually, I want to hire that person just to record some stuff for us, not necessarily UGC?
Probably.
So I think
Because there's UGC, which lends itself to some of the creators on our platform. There's about 6,000 have signed up to our app now, but we're going to move the top 3% based on quality content, professionalism, loads of stuff that will unlock paid opportunities.
Yes.
Which also does another thing in that.
which when more work for them as well. Which is
Well, they all start talking to mates going, oh, do you know you can get paid now?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Yeah.
Oh, well, you've got to do, you know, your content quality's got to be like this. And what it starts to do.
you're going to push people to.
Jamie will hate me saying this, but it starts to gamify the experience.
Yes.
And that they'll want to unlock paid opportunities. So if we can get them to create better content, to put themselves on our radar for that, we'll let them in.
Yeah.
So
I love that.
Yeah, it's cool, and but customers, I think, need it. And
The amount of people I speak that message me saying, do you know someone who can do some video editing for me?
Yeah.
Or do you know someone who has this? Or do you know someone who can really do this? And look at the TMM group. Everyone's asking, I need a video editor, I need a video editor.
Yeah.
If you could just go pop here and just
I know.
choose who you want. This is the content they've made. If that's your style, because then you've got to see the style as well, right? You go to someone who wants to record stuff for you. They might show you some of the stuff they've done. But if you go to a content creator and you love the style of it, then you're like blowing my mind of what you can do.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be on it tomorrow going, I don't want to talk. Can someone else record? Or, can someone follow me around for the day and have a chat? Yeah, and I'll chat with customers because, who was it? The guys at Leap, they came over from Amsterdam, bought a 10 grand camera or 5 grand camera, whatever it was, and filmed, and then had terabyte, and they've got loads of. They've got to edit all the file. I mean, just alone, it's mad.
You know how much goes into content creation, but I think it's that way of like.
That's great. I think
it's a bit of a broken model with I think with videographers, like, because there's a couple of things. There's like you get them in once a month, create loads of content, edit it, but then none of it's really like relevant anymore.
No, it's always gone out the window. Everything's changing continuously.
Yeah. So if you can jump on a trend, get someone to come in quickly, you want a bit more control over the content. We can facilitate that, but you're right. You could probably layer in photography people like
you could do everything. Yeah,
it's the same thing.
You've got a little Joli shop.
There you go, Joli Studios.
Oh,
I might rename.
I like
Maybe
that.
we can talk about it now.
No, I like that. I like that.
Joli Studios.
Yeah.
Damn it, I didn't.
What are you thinking?
Jamie wanted Joli Studios.
Joli AI.
Studio wins. There you go.
What was your idea?
Like pro UGC. Yeah.
No,
Studio is cool.
It's good because you got. I don't know. This sounds. I don't know.
And then if anyone wants to podcast, we'll put you on there, and then you'll be a content creator.
I literally I spoke to someone I haven't spoken to for like 10 years, and they're doing like an award thing.
Yeah.
And he's like, we want to do a podcast. And I was like, great, you'd be great on it. He goes, no, we want you. And I'm like, sure, what do you want me?
Have you been approached to do it for
like,
a brand?
No, I'm good. I'm just doing my little old thing, my little old room, very happy. And the next thing I want to do is I haven't got the budget for it, but there's this podcast kit you can buy. It's a Norwegian kit, and it's basically like this, and it's got 4 mics in it.
Yeah.
There's nothing with 4 mics in it, and it's got a little unit in the middle. It's got noise control, AI, or a bit of AI built into it, and an online studio. So as soon as you get to Wi-Fi, it uploads it. The thing is, I've got obviously these, which are great, which is 2.
Yeah.
To have more is a challenge, or then I need the pod mic, which is 4. I don't want the pod mic, so if I graduated that, I'll be all over London because you literally just take it with you. It's basically the size of a pie. It's about that big. You press a button, the top comes off. Square box.
Yeah.
4 mics, all noise cancelling, and then I'll literally
just go into venues. Yeah.
Listen, I can take that and I can take these into a venue, which is fine. It doesn't give me this control. But we do want to do more in venue stuff if I have time. That would be great. So there's a couple of cool people that we work with that have got some really cool places that I want to do, and either they're very busy, I can't get them here.
Yeah.
So I said, I'll bring it to you. It's not really that hard. It's just, you see me at the shows, right? I've got a GoPro and a freaking mic. It's not hard. So yeah, the new top drawer, but not. Amazing. Okay, so that's really interesting, actually. So moving forward, the generation of the platform, you said you're continuously iterating as well, right?
Yeah.
So
I think there's still enough. We can still squeeze
a lot more. You still want to do, your brain's going.
Squeeze out a lot more out of influencer marketing. I don't think we've completely nailed that experience. There's a lot to do there, but we are kind of listening to the market, and I think.
So we were iterating. We were talking iterating.
Yeah, our customers are definitely saying, okay, well, we've got a demand for lots of different content, but a bit more control over it now. Because I think when you invite an influencer in, it is a bit hit and miss. You'll get some really nice authentic content for sure, but you can't guarantee it's going to be the amazing quality you want. So I think we're going to enable that now. And then I think after that,
is there a chat in the platform where they can chat to the influencer?
Not currently, but there will be when it's Joli Studio on project basis. Because if we
at the moment, I upload what I want. That farms out to who you think it should go to.
Yeah.
They accept, but it gets booked, and then. It books and then it gets booked into.
Very similar. The only thing with this new stuff is that they'll upload content to Joli before it goes anywhere for the brand to review, edit requests, and then approve it, and then release.
That's so cool. That's great. I think you're going to save people an absolute ton. To be honest with you,
it's been driven by loads of our customers, so I have to say thank you to them. Jamie's done so many interviews where they've just been really helpful.
Well, they've hospitality over again, isn't it? It's just what would you want for this? What would you like to see? I spoke to someone else the other day about last year sometime. I was like, what would you like to see? If you had a dream dashboard, what would you want? And they're like res, CRM, sales. Google, GH, all into one. And I was like, oh, that could be really cool. I'm not building it. No, not me. But that would be even to and then all the technology partners you work with have a Joli plugin, have a, whatever plugin, have a, captive plugin, you can just plug in and then you can have this sort of a bit like Tenzo. You have your little dashboard and then people can drag and drop and have what they want.
I think so. I think we're top of funnel, right? So I think influencers is one thing, but I think in a dream scenario, we'll see if we get there. I'm not going to move too quickly because we need to solve that first. But I think just content creation is maybe kind of where we're at, and that kind of top of funnel.
I would be. I mean, my clients would be all over it. Just find someone to do it. Look, but the thing is, you can just go. These are our top 10, whatever it is, or top 100, and they can look at that creator. They don't need to speak to the creator. They can go in and go, I like what they've done. I like their style. That's very us.
Yeah. And
then pop into you, boom, 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 done. Book it. It's just
the benefit to creators as well, and James.
And it's protecting both people, right? That's where you're sort of like.
Well, the annoying thing for creators is they have to wait for an invoice to be paid after 60 or 90 days, and if it's just for one video, £200, it's just so much ag. Whereas we think. I don't want to shoot myself in the foot, but we think we can release the payment straight away to the creator. So the benefit through us is that they get paid instantly.
Yeah.
And when it's
it's different because there's guidelines, right? There's guidelines on both sides. There's terms and conditions on both sides. Everyone's got something to hit against. So there's timelines, and everything else, all pre-agreed. I think the challenge you have is if you're a creator and you go to a brand, they know. If they say it's 60 days, then because it's probably normal, I guess. Okay, whatever, it's fine.
Yeah.
And then a creator probably never chased it up anyway.
So many we've had to interview creators as part of the exercise.
Yeah.
They all want fundamentally, if they're coming in gifted, make sure it's a good offer and not stingy, because that's what they say.
Yeah.
If it's not,
no drinks.
If it's not that, I want to get paid.
Yeah.
But fundamentally, where influencer marketing is broken for me is you've got just a wide range of rates. One influencer on 100,000 followers is charging $5,000. Someone else on the same engagement rate, same kind of niche audience, charging maybe half that.
Yeah.
It's so
fragmented.
That we need to come in, and I think initially with UGC, it's look, you don't have to promote it to your audience. So you're not going to get away with saying different stuff. This is kind of our rate card. This is what we think.
I think that's great.
Is-
And listen, I think there's trust in it as well. If there's trust in it, and the clients trust you, and the creators trust you, you end up having this really nice sort of relationship between both.
I hope so.
I think I can imagine the challenge you have, as you said, is people. If it's 60 days, you sort of I don't know whatever. Then again, it took me like 3 months to get anything out. Blah 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 blah. Do you know what I mean? Oh, that's me. No space left on the memory card. That's okay. We're on this one. So there we go. We're all good. But yeah.
I think from the creators we speak to, they generally know, but I think we need to do more on educating them. Is that like hospitality's budget is completely different to e-commerce brands.
Oh, huge.
So like they're trying to charge hospitality brands the same that they would do like in a way e-commerce, and I'm like, we need to manage their expectations. Yes. Some of them are really good, like some of them are like, I would generally drop my rates because I'm mindful that an independent restaurant will not have that budget. Yeah. But I do think we're going to try and take some responsibility for like
that's great.
The sector.
Yeah.
And try and improve the relationship between the two, but try and make sense of it and like be that kind of like person in the middle going, this is fair for both parties.
Yeah, I think that's great. And it can be the Wild Wild West, right?
Yeah.
People can either get really ripped off and get nothing, and if they reach out themselves. So you're sort of protecting brands as well.
Yeah.
So awesome. Okay, so we're coming to the end. Okay. So I have no idea how long. Hold on. It's we're just over an hour, so it's all good. It's all well done. Even though my technology challenges. So we talked about the future, which is great. When is the studios happening?
Some customers will be going into the V1 this week.
Really?
So I give it a couple of weeks after that.
Oh, that's awesome. So just
really soon, yeah.
Wow.
When Sherry mentioned it on your last podcast, I was like,
you're like, we got to do it now.
Definitely told her we were up to something at RMI when I'd had a few beers, and I was like, oh, now we're gonna have to get a move on.
That's great. Yeah, that's great. Okay. All right. So let's go to the final questions. Mm-hmm. First question is best restaurant. Now, this is a restaurant you have been to, or you might like, which we did hospitality experience, but best restaurant, it could be anything at any time.
Oh man, this is so hard. I was saying to you,
you were saying, yeah.
You have to. For me, I have to break it down by cuisine, or even like.
If we've done Thai, let's not do Thai.
Oh my god! One thing. This is probably very much overlapped with the best experience.
Yeah.
Like I've been to back in the day, Clove Club twice.
Yeah.
When they had like a Michelin star, it was amazing. And I then went back on my own, and this was, I think it's quite normal for people to go solo dining now. Do you remember it was like a trend last year? Yeah. And back then I was like, this is so awkward. Am I going to get laughed at? I think they thought I was a journalist, but I was just going for lunch because I loved it.
And then
I would say
the meal was free.
Weirdly, I had a better time on my own because I wasn't like. This was even before like mobile phones. You just sit there to be normal. Like I remember like properly like the waiter was coming over, like really getting to know me, like probably a bit confused while I was on my own, but that added to the experience because I was like actually getting to know him on a personal level. Food was unreal. That sticks out to me as like really good. Best restaurant now. Oh, it's really hard. And again, like I watch all the Top Jaws stuff.
Yeah.
For me, it always has to be around like, well, what's best value or like best cuisine or don't know. I still like the simple stuff, affordable.
Okay, best simple and affordable restaurant.
Okay.
Here we go.
Used to live in North London.
Yeah.
Green Lanes for Turkish and Middle Eastern food, Mediterranean food was unreal.
Yeah.
So cheap. And you can go at any time of night. So I'd go in there sometimes at like 1 a.m. after some beers.
Love that.
Massive meat platters with all the kind of like sides of salads. And it would be like 20 quid a head. Like, oh.
Okay, going.
Hala, Green Lanes, not my favourite, but there's probably 3 or 4 down there I'd go to.
Yeah.
But that for me is like just simple stuff done really well. And I went there with my mates not long ago and it's just...
it's consistent, right?
Consistent.
Yeah, that's what I love. I love going places where it's just consistent.
You know exactly what you're going to get.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, best burger. And that's a tricky one as well, but like, you know... Because it depends. Do you want smashed? Do you want thick? Do you want
many?
Do you want there's lots of different options now.
There's like the OGs, like Bleecker, which is obviously right up there. Black Bear right up there.
I'm very excited for Black Bear in Market Halls in Paddington because he's doing Black Bear and 20 fried in one. I think it's in one because I saw the sign. It's like in both. So I'm really excited about that.
They're brilliant.
Yeah.
Big players. I quite like the underrated ones, which I would say one of them is in Leytonstone Tavern.
Okay.
Not a lot of people talk about that. Really good burger. I can't even remember the one I had. In fact, they've got a burger on the menu that I don't think they know the name of. They just created something.
Yeah.
Didn't have a name for it.
Yeah.
And I think they've just put it back on the menu and they're like, well, we don't know what this is called, but this is what's in it.
Yeah.
It's like
The no-name burger.
I'm pretty sure I've had that burger in it. Oh, they're very good burgers. They're underrated.
Okay.
People should go.
Best hotel.
Oh. I'm going to say it, but I've not stayed there. I want to clarify that.
Okay.
I'd love to. So if anyone from the Savoy is listening,
Yeah.
I would love to come in and experience what it's like to stay overnight. But I have been to Savoy Grill, and I just think I've been to the American bar.
Yeah.
And just the whole thing, you just feel like you shouldn't be there. I'm like, when am I going to get kicked out?
Yeah, I love that.
But it's just
the
so
American
cool.
bar on its own, just the cocktails and the ice. Like you get this cocktail with a giant ice cube in it. I've also been to the seafood restaurant at the back. I forget what it's called now. But that is awesome. But he's now got his new one upstairs.
Yeah.
Which is like 1812, I think it is. Which I haven't been to. The whole thing in there is
It's just,
yeah.
It just feels like you shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
But it's so cool.
Yeah.
And that's a real, like, sticks in your memory, doesn't it? I've also been to Lanesborough. I've not eaten, not stayed there.
Yeah.
Actually walking around all the kitchens. And this is when I was selling compliance software. But all the pastry kitchens, I just found it so fascinating.
Yeah.
The amount of kitchens they've got there, and like the basements all over the place.
We worked with Novikov and I got lost in the kitchen because it is. I think it's like the whole downstairs. It is just it's cool.
So they've got loads of kitchens as well.
They've got it's huge. It's massive. I've never seen like it. It is.
Wow.
It's huge. There's another one opening in Mayfair soon as well. That's got like two different levels of kitchens and stuff. But yeah, Novikov has like. Oh my god, it's vast.
I had no idea if it was just like normal restaurant.
Well, you go in upstairs, you've got the Asian, and then downstairs, as you walk in, and downstairs you've got the Italian, which is huge, and then downstairs you've got a club. And to show my age, it used to be called Cafe Grand Prix back in the day, and downstairs was Rosie's Club where I ran an event. Yeah. I did a couple of events there, and they used to have a Formula One car in the middle of the restaurant, and it was owned by a company who had a restaurant in Monaco.
Oh my god!
And literally go in there, and it would always be dead for this sort of place in the centre of Mayfair. Yeah, to have a Formula One car in the middle, but just never ever busy.
Weird.
It obviously closed, and then Novikov took it, and I mean, it's that's a place that's just consistent. It's just but
Still, like every time you walk past, like it's just heaving, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, interesting to see the One Hotel, which is the old Holiday Inn opposite. And it's that big One Mayfair. Like what's it? The one? No, not the One Hotel. Is it the one?
Is it one?
No, one. Is it one? Is it One Mayfair? It's the one opposite Novikov. So it's on. It's where the Holiday Inn used to be. So literally just diagonally opposite. It's a huge hotel. I think it's called One Mayfair or.
Okay.
I don't remember now. But anyway, walked in there.
Yeah.
Downstairs is humongous, like absolutely humongous, like the biggest thing you've ever seen. And they've got a coffee shop and a little restaurant and so on. And I walked in and I'm like, oh, let's check the Wi-Fi because obviously, checking the Wi-Fi, all open. And there's like probably 400 people just sitting there that don't even know the hotel that well, that might be sitting for coffee or having dinner. And it's just open.
Probably have a lot.
Blows my mind. Blows my mind. Anyway, but listen, we'll do a, they can hear it, you can't hear it, but they can hear the round of applause. So thank you very much. We have the 2 questions for next guest.
Oh, yes. I will get my phone out for this because I've forgotten. And I did this 5 minutes before we came on air. But you want 2, don't you?
Yeah, 2.
So I'm not going to do what Chris did and ask for 4 or 5.
Chris, I let Chris do 3 on the last one, but it's easier to go back to 2.
My questions are: this is a TikTok trend of the minute, so
Yes.
I am jumping on it. But if you could have a coffee with your 16-year-old self, what would you say to them?
Oh, I like that.
And then my other one is most overhyped place you've ever been to, which is ironic because that's what we do. We overhype places with influencers.
Yeah, I love that.
I thought that'd be quite interesting.
Okay,
See what you say.
how do they find you? How do they find Joli? Where do they go to? Give them the...
Yeah, we're on Instagram and TikTok, which is Joli App, and then website www.joliapp.com.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's us.
Amazing. Thank you very much. I'll give you a little...
Thank you for having me. Another one.
Another round of applause. Thank you very much. Bye, guys.
Bye.